Hi everyone, so welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline, I'm a lecturer in physics at a UK university, and next week we recommence semester, and that means teaching. So for the last 4 weeks our students have been on vacation, although they've been working hard with coursework deadlines and essays and assignments, but next week lectures resume, and like many universities around the world, we are moving to online lectures. So this video is going to be completely about virtual teaching. I don't know about you, so if you're attending a class as a student, whether you'd rather be in the lecture theatre, or maybe you're actually quite looking forward to being able to work from home and just tune into your lecture. But I guess that is the first point to chat about today, is where is a good place to log in for your online lecture? Now, if I had to choose a place in my house that I'm most comfortable, it's either going to be the sofa or getting to laze around in bed. I'm not sure that sitting in your bed, on your bed, curled up on the sofa is actually the best place to log in for an online lecture, because it's just a bit too comfortable. You know, lectures will try to make our material interesting, but you might find a little bit of it maybe goes a bit slower, or maybe you're, I don't know, got a lecture with a really quiet voice, or maybe you're just a bit tired. If you're sitting somewhere that's just a bit too comfy, it's all too easy to doze off and have a power nap. So I'm not sure if this is the best place to log in for a lecture, and it's definitely not a good place as the lecturer for me to tune in to give my lecture to my class. They would be, I think, quite worried if I turned up when I started giving lectures from the sofa. Realistically though, we are all doing the best we can working from home, and if your sofa or your bed is actually the quiet spot and somewhere you can work and not get interrupted, then go with that. However, if you can find a desk, or maybe there's somewhere where there's a flat surface at least, you can prop up your phone if you're using that to see the lecture, or your laptop, but the desk would give you the chance to have somewhere that you can make notes as the lecture is progressing. So if you can, I would probably try to find a desk, or at least kind of a surface that you can make some notes on as you listen to the class. Some academics will choose to give their lecture live. Now that's really exciting if you're the academic doing it, because you are live streaming your lecture to your students all around the world, and you need your Wi-Fi to work, you need your lectures to play smoothly. It can be quite exciting to live stream lecture content. So what a lot of lecturers will do is they will pre-record their lecture and they'll post it up at a time, most likely the lecture time on the timetable. And so that means as the student you can choose when to log in to see that lecture. Now the thing I'll say here is that as academics we are taught to pace our lecture course, so we try not to give too much information too quickly, we try to introduce concepts that have a nice rhythm within the lecture course so you're not overwhelmed. So I would say it's not necessarily the best tactic to save all your lectures up and watch them in like a marathon lecture weekend just before the end of semester. If you can, I would try to watch the number of lectures that week as if you were at the university and those lectures were happening as per the timetable. Now I know you might be all around the world, you might be in a different time zone from when the lecture's actually happening, so you can choose to log into your lecture in the morning or the afternoon or the evening, whatever time that you think you work most productively, but I would try if you can to keep up with the lecture schedule, at least more or less, and that way it means you'll also time with any tutorial questions that the lecturer is releasing and any other class notes that are coming out that week. But yeah, that's the fun thing about online lectures, you can pick and choose when you want to log in to see them. And I suggest setting yourself up with everything that you would normally take to a regular lecture theatre based lecture class. So pencil case, pad of paper, and of course realistically your mobile phone as well. That means you've got everything to hand, so when the lecture starts you're all set up and you can focus on the content of the class. And another cool thing about online lectures, of course, is if they're recorded, it gives you the chance to go back, you can recap on any material that you didn't understand or was a bit complicated the first time round. And of course, depending on where you're based in the world, you can choose a time that suits you to watch that lecture. So I'd probably advise against getting up at 2 AM in the morning if your lecture is being streamed that day at 10 o'clock in the country the lecture is being delivered. As long as that lecture is being recorded, you might be able to watch it then at a time of day that suits you better. And of course, if your lectures have pre-recorded their content, you can choose to watch it in the morning or the afternoon or the evening, depending on which one you find easier to absorb information. Whether or not you choose to take notes is quite a personal choice, and will also depend a bit on the lecture course. So some lecturers will give you electronic handouts before the class, or they'll give you very comprehensive nets of slides, and you might choose just to listen to their lecture or just to write down a few notes. Other academics will want you to pretty much write down everything from their lecture course. I always found it easier to remain concentrated and focused if I was actually writing at the same time as listening to the lecture. So I used to write down what the lecturer was saying, but that is very much a personal choice, and you need to do whichever lecture style works for you. And be prepared to change what you're doing now that your lectures are online. So you might find that when you were at a lecture theatre in person, you would choose to sit and listen to the lecture and not make so many notes. And now that you're at home and you're listening to an online lecture, you might need to mix it up a bit, and now might be the time that you decide actually you want to start taking notes as you listen to the class. So just try different things and kind of work out what works best for you. Mobile phones, always a tricky issue. So sometimes people use their mobile phones in lectures to look things up, which is great. But obviously, as an academic, I know that sometimes my students are probably chatting to each other on their phones, checking out the cinema timetable, working out whether their sporting event is going to happen that afternoon or not. If you're doing online lectures, I'd really advise putting your phone on silent, or at least putting it somewhere out the way so that you can't easily reach it. It just takes away that temptation to look at Twitter or Instagram or whatever the cool app is everyone uses these days, and it helps kind of keep you focused on the actual lecture content. And your lecturer will be really happy if you do that, because obviously we spend a lot of time lovingly crafting our lectures, making the material wonderful, trying to be as interesting as possible about the topic that we're teaching. So yeah, if you can, I'd put your phone to one side if at all possible. Don't forget as well that your lecturer, just because they're not there in the classroom with you, it doesn't mean you can't have contact and ask them questions outside of the formal lecture. So in my normal lecture class, students will queue up and ask questions from me at the end, or they might ask questions as we go through. That can be a lot harder with pre-recorded lectures. Sometimes the lecturer will have a formal Q&A time so you can ask questions. But of course there's also email, there's kind of group chat. So at our university we have a group chat forum with each module, so you can ask questions not only to the lecturer but also to the other students. So just because you're at home doing online teaching, don't feel that there isn't like a two-way dialogue. There is, you just have to kind of communicate in a slightly different way. So I hope those tips were helpful. Good luck if you're starting online lectures next week. I hope they go well. If you've got any cool tips or suggestions, do put them in the comments below, because your idea might help out another student who's tackling an online lecture course. The natural daylight is now fading, so I guess that's the end of this video. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I'll be back next week and we will discuss more stuff relating to university. So have a safe week, have a good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.